Hey guys, welcome to week 4, day 1 of our 30-day LSIT challenge. Congratulations on sticking with it this far. You should be very proud of yourself. It's hard to do something new, and it's even harder to get up and do it every day, day after day. So thank you for joining me here. Thank you for showing up for yourself every day and sticking with it. We're going to transition this week from our prep position on the blocks to prep on the floor. So this is going to be significantly more challenging. You'll notice today that we drop it way down to about 1.5 minutes of total time. We're going to do 6 repetitions and 15-second holds. It's a lot more challenging on the floor because it requires more compression and strength in your body because you are not able to drop your legs essentially below the flat line of the ground, which is what we're doing when we prop ourselves up on blocks. It's okay if you're not able to lift up off of the ground with your bottom. When you're in the prep position on the floor, go ahead and stick with it anyway. Don't go back to the blocks. Press down and then shift those hips back, and you're going to feel the difference from maybe when you tried it the first time. Your body is able to compress a little bit more, and it's a little bit stronger than it was when we first started this challenge. So appreciate those changes, and don't be scared to walk into something that's a little bit more challenging. We're dropping the time this week because these are more challenging. You'll find that the more challenging the exercises are that you do, the less time you need to spend doing them to get the same benefit for your body. So stay focused, cheer yourself on, you've got this. We're going to take a little moment to stretch out the wrist here, and then we're going to go for 6 repetitions of 15-second holds. Ooh. So wake up the body, roll those wrists out, maybe give them a little massage. Thank them for supporting us. Remind our fingers that they need to press hard into the floor. You'll have the best time here on a hard surface floor. You can use your yoga mat. Carpet makes it more challenging for the same reason that foam blocks are more challenging than cork blocks. They kind of limit your ability to press your fingers into the ground of the block of the surface and lift the weight out of your wrist. So if you don't have a hard surface floor, put down a very thin book or something like that. Give yourself a head start because something like carpet or a blanket's really going to inhibit your ability to press. Oh, take the wrist back and stretch. Forearm. Flip your hands over, palm down. Take another nice stretch. Here you can press your fingers down into the ground. You might get some snap, crackle, and pop. I usually do in the mornings. Reminding your fingers that they need to spread wide and press down. Switching around, your fingers point back towards the back of the mat. Be lifting a little bit here, reminding our forearms to bear our weight. And then getting set up, we're going to come to a nice tall seat, Dandasana, staff pose. Sit up nice and tall. You can point or flex the toes. It's going to help your backward motion with your hips if you flex the toes. But remember, if you experience any cramping in your quadriceps, you can go ahead and point them to relieve that tension. Just make sure you keep that mindful pulling back of the hips. So we're going to have our hands in front of our bottoms, so not back here behind us. So if you'll practice here, just walk the hands up to remind yourself we need to be somewhere in our thigh. I like to start with my thumb kind of right under where my booty ends. And when we press, we're going to shift the hips back. So if you're on the ground and you're not lifting at this point, that's perfectly fine. What you're going to do is press down and then shift the hips back. You see me moving along the ground. It's okay if it's 1 inch or 2 inches, you're getting that engagement. So you should feel your core engaging. See if you can relax your quadriceps a little bit because they'll be engaging as well. And just hold that for the repetition. And eventually, you'll be able to lift up. So let's go ahead and get started. Round 1 of our 15-second prep hold. Pressing down, shifting the hips back. Remember, this is more challenging than on blocks. You won't be lifting as higher. It's okay. Remember to pull those hips back. Feel the body tremble. And release. Good job. You should feel that just about as much as you feel a 30-second hold on the blocks. You're challenging your body a lot more to compress here. So if we don't have the lift on the ground, our body has to compress more vertically in order to lift our hips up off the ground and shift them back. So you're challenging your body quite a bit here, even though it may not look like some kind of fancy Instagram-worthy pose. You're doing good work here, so stick with it and cheer yourself on. The foundation is the most important part of a building, but it looks the least fancy. So remember that, encourage yourself, don't give up. Let's go, round 2, 15-second hold. Pressing down, shifting the hips back as far as we can. Remembering to press the fingers down to the ground. It doesn't matter if you're barely off, that's okay. You don't have to be high, that will come with time, that's just compression. Pulling the hips back and release. There we go, 2 down. And roll the wrist out. Take a break here if you need it, if you need to stretch out your legs or your quads or your hips. I find this to be more challenging than the hip flexors, the block. So I usually find that I need more quadricep stretching and release when I'm on the blocks, and I need more hip flexor release when I'm on the floor. So just pay attention to your body. Everybody's different. Each one of us have strengths and opportunities in different areas. So just listen to what it's like to be you and take those cues for what you need from your body. Let's wiggle back into place. Almost halfway there. Round 3. Pressing down, shifting the hips back, remembering to pull back as far as we can, feeling the body shake, feeling the challenge. You may start to sweat here, and that's okay. It's your body releasing what it doesn't need. There we go, 3. Let's take a moment to do a little hip flexor stretch. After a cross-legged seat, you're going to stick your right foot out in front of you. Left foot is going to come in front of you with your calf parallel to the mat in the front here, perpendicular to this side of the mat. So you're trying to get your leg as straight as possible here in front of you. Then you're going to take your right foot up and bring it over. You can use your hands to help you, and place it on your left knee. So this gives you a really excellent stretch in your right hip flexor. You may be way up here, and that's okay. Don't strain yourself. If you're able to add a little pressure, you may hear a pop. My hip just popped. You can add a little pressure here. You can sit up tall and feel that nice deep stretch in the right hip flexor. Eventually, when our hips are open, maybe when we're doing some more opening work and less engagement, we'll get our knee down here to meet our foot, but don't force it. We don't want to hurt ourselves. The hip flexors are comprised of many muscles. They're very complex and fairly challenging to keep open. So if you've got really tight hips, join the club. Most of us are there with you, so don't worry about it. Now let's switch. Take your left foot out in front, right foot comes in front, as if you were sitting cross-legged, but straightening our leg out a little bit more. So we're parallel to the front part of our mat right here, and then we're taking our left foot up, placing our left foot on the right knee, and releasing into that stretch, giving a nice deep opening in the left hip flexor. Oh, your hip may pop here too. For me, it's usually one or the other, not both. You can rest your arm, put a little bit of pressure. Be very mindful of your knees here. If you feel sharp pain in your knees at all, back away. We don't want to be too aggressive there. Sharp pain in your knees is indicative of either an attachment or a ligament being overstretched. Those are not the pieces that we want to stretch. We want to stretch the actual muscle that's in between the bones. And when you're satisfied, let's come back and get set up and finish out strong with our last 3. Sitting up nice and tall in our staff pose, reminding ourselves that our fingers and our forearms are doing the work here. Sitting up nice and tall, pressing down into the ground, shifting the hips back, taking deep breaths here, noticing the body's challenge, noticing how different our hips may feel after that nice hip opening exercise, pressing down into the ground, and we're there. Release. Stretch out the wrists here, give them a couple of rolls. Moving on to number 5. Don't feel pressured to go through these as quickly as I do in the videos. I do my exercises usually throughout the entire day, so feel free to do the same. It's a lot more expedient to do things all in a row in a video, and so that's why we show it here like this. But listen to your body, listen to what you need, and feel free to break it up throughout the day. Whatever works best for you and your schedule and your body. It's just important that you show up at the time. So 2 more. Pressing down, shifting back.
Jill?
Can you give me a minute, please?
Okay.
Thank you. This is my last day in this yoga room. We're moving today. We've got folks here to help with furniture. So we've got 1 more repetition, and then I will leave you guys to it so that I can skedaddle out of here and let them move the furniture because they're waiting on me. Okay, last rep. Pressing down, shifting back. Pulling those hips back just as far as we can. Remembering that it's not a competition. Everybody's growth is good for the group. And release. Good job, guys. Thank you so much for joining me here today. We're going to break some barriers this week with the new challenge on the floor. Reach out with questions, comments, concerns. If you encounter any new struggles or challenges, or you feel like you can't do it, I'm absolutely here and happy to help. I really enjoy helping people figure out how to get through what they're going through. So reach out to me. I'm always here for you. And wish me luck with the move. Next time I record a video, it will be in a different room. The rest of this week on the road, I'll be traveling, so we'll get the tour of a few different hotel rooms in a few different states. So look forward to navigating through the challenge this week with you all, and have happy holidays for whatever you celebrate.